Uneatables Abhakshya. Understanding the dietary rules of Jainism. Have you ever wondered why Jains eat only certain foods and avoid others? What kind of foods are suitable for consumption? Why can't we consume potatoes or onions? What harm does alcohol consumption cause, even if it's just fermented plant juice? This video will provide you with all the answers. In this exploration, we delve into the profound principles guiding Jain dietary practices, shedding light on the concepts of eatables Bhakshya and uneatables Abhakshya. Human survival hinges on the consumption of food and water. Yet, Jainism emphasizes a path of minimal harm to all living beings. To navigate this ethical terrain, Jains adhere to a dietary code that prioritizes compassion and non-violence. Eatables or Bhakshya refer to foods that cause minimal harm to other beings during acquisition and preparation, embodying the principle of ahimsa or non-violence. These are acceptable for consumption to a Jain layperson and may even be offered to ascetics. Conversely, uneatables Abhakshya encompass foods deemed detrimental to both health and ethical integrity, as they cause excessive harm to living creatures. These food items are not consumed by Jains. By abstaining from these items and embracing eatables, Jains uphold their commitment to nonviolence, compassion, ethical living, and spiritual harmony. Uneatables or forbidden foods in Jainism are categorized into 5 groups. First, food causing violence to mobile living beings, Trasghat Abhakshya. Second, foods causing violence to infinite stationary living beings, Bahughat Abhakshya. Third, foods considered disgusting, Anupsevya Abhakshya. Fourth, foods causing intoxication, Nashakarak Abhakshya. Fifth, foods responsible for bad health and disease, Anishtakarak Abhakshya. Additionally, Jain scriptures list 22 uneatables Abhakshya outlined as follows. First, hailstone. Second, dvidal foods. These include mixtures of milk and milk products like curd or buttermilk with dals, nuts or pulses that split in the center. Upon contact with saliva, these foods generate mobile living beings that perish immediately upon consumption. Examples include cashew nut milkshake, almond milkshake, dahi vada, and curries with curd and gram flour, and several other items. Third, food and water after sunset. Fourth, foods with multiple seeds such as custard apple. Fifth, brinjal. Sixth, pickles, both sweet murabba and salty achar varieties, if consumed beyond their stipulated time. Seventh, fruit of the banyan tree, Vad. Eighth, fruit of the kathumar tree. Ninth, figs, Pakar Anjeer. 10th, fruit of the peepal tree. 11th, fruit of the gullar tree. 12th, unknown fruits. 13, underground vegetables like potato, onion, garlic, radish, carrot, sweet potato, yam, and others that fall in the category of kandamul. 14th, soil. 15th, poison. 16th, meat, eggs, fish. 17th, honey. 18th, butter. Butter should only be used to make ghee. After 48 minutes, it becomes unfit for consumption. 19th, alcohol. 20, deformed fruits and vegetables like small cucumbers and small mangoes. 21, spoiled foods. Items like oil, ghee, etc. emit a distinct odor after a certain time and should not be consumed. 22nd, snow, frost, ice. All these 22 items fit into one or more of the 5 groups mentioned earlier. Let's explore each of these 5 categories of uneatables, the foods within them, and the reasons for their avoidance. First, Foods causing violence to mobile living beings. Tras Ghat Abhakshya. In Jainism, foods that cause harm or violence to mobile living beings are termed Tras Ghat Abhakshya. These include items made by harming or killing creatures with 2 to 5 senses. Examples of such forbidden foods are: first, Udambar fruits. These include fruits like banyan, peepal, and figs, which release a white milky secretion when plucked. These fruits contain countless tiny 2 or 3 sensed living beings that die upon consumption. Hence, Jains avoid eating Udambar fruits. Second, foods beyond their suggested time. Regular food items like flour, milk, and ground spices should be consumed within the time frame mentioned in the scriptures. Consuming them beyond this period leads to the generation of small living beings causing violence. Spoiled or oxidized foods like oil, ghee, etc. should also be avoided. Third, honey. Do you think it is okay to consume honey for medicinal purposes or for cosmetic purposes? Well, think again. Honey, a secretion of honeybees, is filled with mobile living beings. Obtaining honey involves harming bees, destroying their habitat while injuring many and causing death to others. Even after filtering, honey is never free of billions of one-sensed living creatures. Jains uphold compassion and non-violence towards the smallest creatures and completely renounce honey. Fourth, meat. Obtaining meat involves killing animals, a grave act of violence. Meat also contains innumerable mobile and one-sensed living beings that die upon consumption. Eating meat leads to cruel dispositions, making it difficult to lead a non-violent life. Therefore, meat and leather are prohibited in Jainism. Fifth, eggs. Eggs are non-vegetarian as they contain mobile living beings, whether fertilized or not. They are 5-sensed living entities and are not suitable for consumption. Poultry farms often keep chickens in poor conditions, causing stress and injury, which goes against the basic tenet of non-violence. This prompts Jains to completely abstain from eggs. Sixth, unfiltered water. Unfiltered water contains countless mobile living beings and should not be consumed or used directly. To prevent harm to these beings, water must always be filtered before use. Additionally, boiling filtered water further ensures its suitability for consumption in accordance with Jain principles. While many Jains avoid directly consuming eggs, meat, or honey, they may unknowingly consume products containing raw materials derived from these sources. Those aspiring to lead a non-violent lifestyle should be vigilant about their food choices and avoid such products. Second, foods causing violence to infinite stationary living beings. Bahughat Abhakshya. In Jainism, foods that cause harm to uncountable or infinite stationary one-sensed living beings such as water-bodied, fire-bodied, wind-bodied, earth-bodied, and plant-bodied beings are termed Bahughat Abhakshya. Let's explore some examples. First, underground vegetables like potatoes, onions, garlic, radish, turnip, carrots, and ginger contain infinite Negodya Jeev, one-sensed beings. Consuming such food involves severe violence as it requires the killing of countless minute beings that exist in infinite numbers. For instance, an infinite number of Negod beings can inhabit a single point on the tip of a needle. Imagine how many would exist in just one potato. Additionally, uprooting the entire plant to harvest the vegetable harms the entire plant as well as several earth-bodied living beings. Garlic and onion are considered tamasic, fueling negative emotions like anger. Therefore, renouncing these foods completely is advised. Second, butter. Raw butter, if left beyond 48 minutes after production, becomes home to numerous mobile and stationary living organisms, making it unfit for consumption. It should be clarified into ghee within 48 minutes, and such ghee is considered fit for consumption. Third, spoiled foods. Microbially spoiled or oxidized foods are unfit for consumption. Fourth, soil or mud. Soil contains countless earth-bodied beings and should not be eaten. Fifth, hailstone, ice, snow or frost. Consuming these substances harms water-bodied beings and is prohibited. Adhering to these dietary guidelines helps Jains minimize harm to living beings and uphold the principle of non-violence, ahimsa, in their daily lives. Third, foods considered disgusting, anupsevya abhakshya. In Jainism, items that society forbids and respectable individuals look down upon are termed anupsevya abhakshya. Examples include saliva, spit, urine, and feces. Although some may use cow's urine or tablets made from cow dung for medicinal purposes, Jain principles advise against such practices. Consuming these disgusting items reflects intense attachments, considered psychic violence, bhavhinsa, while the violence of minute living beings also causes physical violence, dravyahinsa. Fourth, foods causing intoxication, nashakarak abhakshya. In Jainism, foods that lead to drunkenness and intoxication, blurring one's judgment and causing inappropriate behavior, are termed nashakarak abhakshya. Alcoholic beverages like whiskey, beer, rum, gin, breezer, wine, and others have the potential to impair sobriety and hinder efforts towards realizing the true nature of the soul. They are produced by fermenting barley, grapes, and other foods, resulting in the death of countless living beings upon consumption. Furthermore, these drinks can lead to serious health issues such as liver cirrhosis, cancer, and heart ailments impacting overall well-being. Drugs like hemp, marijuana, cocaine, and heroin also fall into this category and are prohibited. Items like cigarettes, bidi, cigars, hookah, and pan masala contribute to lung cancer, heart ailments, diabetes, and air pollution and must be completely avoided. Intoxication diminishes respect in society, burdens families and neighbors, leads to violence and other sins, and jeopardizes one's career, health, and life. Hence, complete avoidance of all nashakarak abhakshya is essential. 5. Foods responsible for bad health and disease. Anishtakarak abhakshya. Foods that aren't forbidden but are deemed unsuitable for consumption due to specific health concerns are termed anishtakarak abhakshya in Jainism. Examples include sugar-based sweets for diabetics, fatty foods for heart patients, ghee-based sweets during fever, and curd or buttermilk for colds. While not universally forbidden, these foods are considered abhakshya temporarily, particularly during certain health conditions. It's important to note that these foods are typically prepared non-violently and aren't universally considered abhakshya under normal circumstances. However, persistently consuming them despite knowing their harmful effects reflects the intense attachment detrimental to the purity of the soul and should be avoided. Why to abstain from uneatables abhakshya? First, accumulation of inauspicious karma. Consuming uneatables leads to severe violence, which is a grave sin, pap, causing the accumulation of inauspicious karma that results in negative consequences in the current and subsequent births. Second, health implications. eating such foods can lead to various health problems and diseases, resulting in painful consequences and leading to a loss of time, money, effort, and overall distress. Third, hindrance to spiritual growth. Uneatables are often consumed with intense attachments, leading to the development of cruel dispositions, laziness, greed, anger, and other negative qualities that hinder spiritual growth and self-realization. Take a moment to reflect. In our routine lives, many instances of unavoidable violence occur as a part of our daily chores and livelihoods. But is it justifiable to harm countless living beings merely to gratify our taste buds? Can't we avoid this kind of violence by showing compassion to other living beings while fostering our own spiritual growth? The karma accrued through such carelessness can lead to immense suffering across countless future lives. Shouldn't we make a conscious effort to minimize harm and avoid consuming what's unnecessary? For seekers on the path of liberation, renouncing all uneatables or cultivating a strong resolve to abstain from them is essential. Compassion for all living beings combined with the mitigation of passions lays the foundation for spiritual growth. This nurtures an environment conducive to self-realization and progress on the journey toward ultimate liberation. Summary: Jain scriptures categorize uneatables into 5 main types. First, Trasghat Abhakshya, foods causing violence to mobile living beings. Second, Bahughat Abhakshya, foods causing violence to infinite stationary living beings. Third, Anupsevya Abhakshya, foods considered disgusting. Fourth, Nashakarak Abhakshya, foods causing intoxication. Fifth, Anishtakarak Abhakshya, foods responsible for bad health and disease. Consuming these uneatables leads to intense violence, cruel dispositions, and negative health effects, hindering spiritual growth. Striving to eliminate all uneatables from one's diet and adopting a virtuous conduct is essential to move ahead on the path of liberation. Jai Jinendra.